Aaron Tuttle here. It's storm season in Oklahoma, and with that comes torrential rain, high winds, and hail. To protect your home and your family from these threats, the one roofing company you should trust is Ferguson Roof Systems. They've been providing the best in roofing services for nearly half a century. Ferguson is Oklahoma's full-service roofing company, certified with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and a 5-star rating on Google. And with Ferguson now offering Class 4 impact-resistant shingles, now is the time to trust them with your home's roof. Get started today at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, happy Friday! It's Lunchtime Live. Let's talk about the weather as we head into our weekend. I hope you've had a great week so far. It's been mostly free of pretty much any threatening severe weather around our neck of the woods, which has been nice. Nice little break, but you know, with that comes the heat, unfortunately. So we do get a trade-off here this time of the year. And typically we shut down our severe weather season in the middle of June anyways. This one shut down about a week earlier, which is totally fine by me. I'm not going to complain about that at all. So thanks for joining me, telling me where you're checking in from. I see you all over the place. By the way, Tiffany, thank you for the stars here for our Lunchtime Live here on this Friday. Jim from Mustang, hey, you're on the wrong platform. You're supposed to be on YouTube, buddy. We do it on Facebook. Did you ask YouTube permission? Hey, Beverly's from Oklahoma City and in the house. So is Sharon. Kevin, what's up? Ron is in the house. Shelly's here. Jen is here. You betcha. Angela, Midwest City. Holla. Jennifer, Kathy from Yukon. Jeremy, Newcastle. My other boy Jeremy's in the house. Megan from Lawton, as always. Stephanie, Midwest City. Glad to see you out there for today. Well, let's talk a little bit about the weather, shall we? Make this quick and easy and fun and painless. Because we don't have a lot of nasty weather to talk about, although there is, believe it or not, a threat of severe weather. I know, right? Christopher, thank you for the stars as well, my friend. All right, let's take a look outside in case you're not lucky enough to have a window in where you're working right now. We do have lots of sunshine here to begin our lunch hour. We're at 90 degrees here as we approach noontime, so it is a little bit on the toasty side, unfortunately, but you know, we're used to that kind of stuff this time of the year. Let's take a look here at the rainfall around the region with the radar and also the cloud cover. And you can see up here into northwest Oklahoma, the Panhandle region, up into western Kansas, and we got parts of New Mexico and also Colorado. We do have some cloudiness around this area and also some showers. Jim, you don't have to switch, man. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's okay. If YouTube did notify you, let me know, because I thought YouTube always notified you and your creators that you follow go live. So if that's changed, let me know, because that's irritating. Anyway, there's just some light showers up there in Garden City, back here in Texoma, Stratford, Dalhart, Vega, over here in the northwestern Texas Panhandle. Now, these will stay in that area here for today, and then things will change a little bit for tomorrow. All right, let's take a look here at the temperatures out there also on the Oklahoma Mesonet. Looks like the hot spot is Lahoma at about 92. In northern Oklahoma, Altus are about 92 as well. Altus is usually one of the hot spots in the state pretty much every year when it comes to our summertime heat. Wind fields, they're kind of out of the southwest in this direction, kind of in the north this direction, southeast and east this direction, so kind of all over the place. Pretty much very light and variable. And dew point values here in the green numbers are pretty high, so the upper 60s, low 70s across the majority of the state, exception up here across the north. So that, in other words, that's going to make it feel a little bit on the humid side out there for you. Okay, so we did talk about the threat of severe weather, so this will be for tomorrow, and as a very weak, what they call a marginal risk. This is in the green shading. The slight risk of being yellow, and that's off the page up here in northern Kansas. So bottom line is we are expecting a few showers and thunderstorms once again from western parts of the state, Panhandle and Texas, into western Oklahoma as well. There's a close-up view of that. Very low. In other words, you could probably put 0 on the tornado potential, but they just don't have a 0 category. Hail size only up to a quarter and winds only up to 60. So when you say marginal, that means they're barely, if they even make it, to severe storm criteria. So that's the issue for Saturday. By the way, unfortunately, we also sometimes have to deal with this little stagnant air, and we end up with an air quality alert. So from ozone is from today through tomorrow morning, high ozone concentration. So person with heart or respiratory conditions should reduce physical exertion and outdoor activity. So if that affects you, what affects me is allergies, and they kick in I guess the last week or two, I've noticed a big change for me. It may be different for you. Everybody's different when it comes to allergies because there's trees and stuff that blow in from Colorado, et cetera, at certain times of the year. Then we have stuff that grows here locally, so we're a hot spot for allergies. But regardless, we do have that ozone quality alert, and there's our little precipitation probability out here for Saturday out across western Oklahoma. So nothing here expected in central Oklahoma. Also in Tulsa, they have an ozone alert across the greater metropolitan area for the surrounding regions for Osage, Rogers Creek, and Wagner counties. Also, they have a heat advisory through 6 o'clock today, which means heat index values up around 105 plus in some areas, which means heat illness is possible. If you're new here and you're like, what is that? Basically, we have that western heat that you get out across the desert southwest, but we add humidity to it, and that causes it to be a heat index, which means it feels a little hotter to your respiratory system than it does when you would have dryer in place. So let's take a look at the the upper level atmosphere with the jet stream, and we'll take a look at the 500 millibar chart, and we're going to track some upper level storm systems. So this is one right here across the desert southwest. There's some activity out around Florida and the Gulf. So the Gulf is going to start getting a little bit more active. So it's supposed to be a busy tropical storm year. So we're going to see what happens with that. But what we're also going to watch is this little system I pointed out to you move into our region as we head into Saturday right here. So Saturday afternoon and evening is going to zip through here across the central part of the country. So the tail end of it just kind of glimpses northwest Oklahoma, etc. So there's our storm maker for that one. Otherwise, believe it or not, the northern plains and southern Canada gets severe weather, and we've already had some tornadoes up around the Manitoba area. Was it yesterday and the day before? This little storm system right here may cause another one. So that's where all our severe weather season, and it goes like that. It's fun. It just all of a sudden it's from here, and then it jumps about 4 states north. It's amazing how that works like clockwork. So now they can deal with it for a little bit. All right, now as we head into next week, this is the weekend, into early next week, watch this little area of spin on the clockwise fashion out here across the northeast as it protrudes on into, let's call it Wednesday. And what you'll notice here is a closed off 600 decameter height line. Now, that is an extremely strong area of high pressure aloft in the atmosphere. So we get, like our storm systems are usually lower areas, lower height levels. We call it low pressure. It's really lower heights, but I don't know. For whatever reason, it's just stuck with saying low pressure. It seems like that's more easy to understand because low pressure generates clouds, rainfall, inclement weather, a change in weather, whereas high pressure brings quiet weather, sometimes dry, hot, still weather. So that's what they're going to have up there across the northeast. So we're kind of in between here in no man's land in Oklahoma. However, we have to watch these little systems down across the Gulf because they can turn into little areas of low pressure or like a little hurricane or tropical storm sometimes. So we'll have to keep an eye on next week to see if anything happens and comes in across South Texas. Right now it looks like a big rainmaker for some tropical moisture down there. All right, so what is the... then after that, let's go ahead and zip through in time to see what happens later. There's another little system right here, cruising across the upper Gulf Coast by next weekend, next Friday and Saturday. See how that kind of comes into Texas. What's left of it kind of moves into here by next Sunday. Now, sometimes these can come a little bit more north, so they can kind of influence Oklahoma. So we can get some rainfall out of those. We'll watch this time of the year to see if we can't get some of that in our backyard to get some rainfall going. What does that area mean when we're talking about the higher heights out here? Where that 600 decameter, it's pretty much centered upstate New York, New Hampshire area, so Pennsylvania, that whole region. So that's where the heat bubble or the heat dome, as you often hear in Oklahoma, resides. So what that means for them is they're going to have temperatures that are about 20 degrees above normal for next Wednesday when that thing finally develops and overhead. So anywhere from 20 to 25 degrees above normal, which for them this time of year is very, very hot. So that means they'll be up into the mid 90s in some areas, maybe even upper 90s, close to 100. Now, I don't know if they know how to deal with that, but they're going to get a little taste of our weather, and that's going to be a little rudeness shock to them. Now, here locally, we've got the dew point values in the 70s across eastern Oklahoma. So if you were to divide the state line along I-35, the western side, we're low mid 60s mostly here for today, and then tomorrow, we're in the mid 70s east. So when you factor in the temperatures, it's always going to feel worse where you have the higher dew point values, like the mid-70s. Let's take a look at that. Here's an actual look at real temperatures measured from your thermometer. So mid-90s expected here this afternoon in Oklahoma City, and upper 90s out here in western and southwestern Oklahoma. Enid, close to 100 degrees. Why? Because they had that little batch of dry air up there, and that dry air heats up faster. So there's going to be a little batch here that's going to be a little on the hot side, probably close to 100 degrees in and around the Enid area. And then back up here to Tulsa and Bartlesville today, also into the mid-90s. Now let's factor in those dew point values into the mid-70s. What happens? Tulsa feels more like 106 to 107 around the area. There's Bartlesville 107, Muskogee, Stillwater. And what this means is that your temperature, it's harder for your body to cool down. Now, this is only a factor for humans. It's a feel like temperature, but you can put it to like pets and animals because it's just a fraction of evapotranspiration off the skin. And it's a little bit harder to do when you have more moisture on. In other words, if it's very dry, well, you know how your skin can get very dry? Well, because the moisture on the surface of that evaporates pretty quickly. So humans a little bit different because we don't have a big ton of fur, right, to cover us, whereas animals do. So we suffer a little bit more in that environment. All right, let's take a look here at the rainfall potential as we head into the rest of today. You can see a little batch up there in the panhandle falls apart. And then there's some more activity later on tonight that drifts in the same region. That also falls apart. Now, as we head into Saturday, still some morning leftover activity in the same area. And then we get some thunderstorms here for Saturday afternoon, bubbling back up across the panhandle and the eastern Texas panhandle as well. Those don't last very long. Looks like they die out towards sunset. More storms developing on the panhandle and throughout the evening in Texas. Those try to make their way into western Oklahoma before falling apart for Saturday evening. So right now, dry across the majority of the state with the exception of the Panhandle region in far western counties and far northwest Oklahoma the way it looks now. Now, what's left of that with a little disturbance may end up kicking up. There's a little signal here. It's not much, but Sunday morning, when you're heading out, having your coffee to church, whatever it may be, looks like we might have a little batch here of some isolated activity to start off your weekend. So if you're lucky, you'll get a shower or two to help quench your flowers and your plants. You don't have to water that day. That little system moves through mid-morning to late morning and dies out. And then there's some more storms across parts of Kansas for Sunday afternoon and back into those same areas out here. So this is a favored zone for June, for the latter part of June, just so you know, where you'll get occasional storms in this area. So that's where they kind of get most of their rainfall. Whereas in the spring, remember the dry line is like over here usually. So if the dry line's over here, they're in dry air, they get nothing. Well, the dry line retreats back to the west, so that now they can get into some moisture, and therefore they can get their rain. So we kind of trade positions with the rainfall here around our region. Okay, let's take a look at temperatures for today. Mid-90s. Like the NAM liked a little bit hotter today, probably because of slightly lower dew point values. They had about 95 here in Oklahoma City Metro. But regardless, we should be, if you look at a blend of the model data, into the low 90s and overnight lows into the low 70s, which is pretty much normal for this time of the year, so that's not unexpected. And then what can affect these, for example, is if we get some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico that sneaks in here, and that can drop our temperatures down and also produce a few extra clouds and some extra rainfall. So we can look forward to that, and we'll track those as it comes along, and that'll give us something to chat about here when it's otherwise just kind of hot and boring. And now keep in mind that when it is hot and boring, especially in the doldrums of summer, which is mostly August, sometimes like parts of July, you might not see me for a while because I like to relax, right? A little R&R to make up for the spring. I got beat down this spring. I will tell you, we made up this spring, I think 108 or something tornadoes this spring compared to our last several years. So it's kind of like all at once. And I mean, there was days where I was probably on the air almost daily and for a while. So that was very tiresome, and I got so behind on everything else. You know how it is in life. You got bills, you have all these things you have to go through to research or to deal with, and you got stuff that just happens. Home ownership or car ownership, all that kind of stuff just piles up, right? You never get caught up, and that's stressful. And then your email inbox just fills up. You can't get to that either, and then people messaging you, and you can't get to them either. It's terrible. Talk about stress. All right, Leveda, by the way, thank you for the stars for this Lunchtime Live here as we kick out our weekend, so appreciate you on that. Let's see. Well, Lisa also didn't get notified. Oh, got notified from YouTube. Okay, but couldn't comment. Interesting. All right, Shelly, good to see you in the house. Ron, thank you for the stars. Also, just going through the Facebook comments here real quick. My boy Bill's watching. Good to see you. Judy's in the house. Let's see. Chris is in the house. Good to see you. Hope you have a great weekend as well. Thank you as always. And thanks for saying hi to Jody. So, Jody likes that, believe it or not. She won't tell you, but she does. Makes her smile. Everybody likes to be included. So, real quick on the other platforms. Let me take a look, you guys. So, on YouTube, Mean Okie. Good to see you as well. All season long. And you're welcome, Kaylee. I thank you for appreciating us. We appreciate you for being here. And on Rumble, we're slowly getting there. Mustang's in the house, 8350. Well, good. So Rumble will always notify you when I go live. Okay, yeah, because Facebook doesn't. So the option on Facebook, by the way, is to join the Facebook broadcast channel, which I put in the comments section, and I'll do it again here real quick. And that way, if you want to get notified on Facebook, because they didn't always do it, I will tell you through your instant messenger. But you have to have your Facebook Messenger loaded, right, on your phone. Otherwise, you won't get it. Or on your computer if you happen to be on your computer most of the day. That's the way that would work. Otherwise, you guys on Twitter X, again, thank you for checking in also. So that's going to be it for me. Hope and Owasso, thank you also. So heat will be the ticket for a while. And the heat index value will be also a little bit high, off and on. It goes higher when we have dew point values in the 70s. It's much more comfortable or lower if you get some dew point values in the low 60s, or even if we're lucky, sometimes upper 50s. Then it won't feel so bad. And that's when those evenings actually feel pretty decent if you're in the shade, in the back porch and stuff. There's usually a sweet spot there for a couple hours. You can make some decent weather for eating out or barbecuing or whatever. Think anything else? We'll watch the tropics. They should be pretty active here for this hurricane season. Let's see. As far as long-term, prognostications, those are usually all garbage, so I don't put a lot of weight into them. If they were good, then they would be good, and we would all know it. But a lot of times, everybody forgets what they were because they never pan out. Nobody ever goes back to look. So we're in a society of tomorrow. What happened today or yesterday? I don't care. So all that stuff gets lost, but I pay attention to that stuff just to see for accuracy, right? Because I want to know. Because if it is actually worthwhile, I'll start paying more attention to it. And so far it hasn't. Maybe AI will get there. Maybe it'll get a little bit better, but not for right now. But I'm sure summer is hot. Some days won't be so bad, and some days rainy. A lot of days dry, and that's our standard forecast. Okay, you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Thanks again for checking in. Have a great weekend. Thanks for making your lunchtime special with me and including me in your daily activities. I always appreciate you guys from your liking the videos, sharing the videos to your friends and family, all that kind of stuff, or supporting me through multiple outlets. You can do so, from Patreon to Facebook fan subscriptions to YouTube subscriptions, pretty much whatever's out there. If you utilize it, that works for me. I also thank you for that. And we will talk to you again on the next broadcast. Have a great weekend. See you.